Have you ever walked into a house and felt like someone had been waiting for you long before you arrived? Not because you heard footsteps, not because you saw a shadow, but because the silence itself felt familiar. That's exactly how I felt the day I bought the Hawthorne farmhouse. If I had listened to that feeling, my wife and I would still be alive in the eyes of the world. Instead, we became part of a story that the town still refuses to talk about. My name is Ethan Carter. This happened in the fall of 2024, outside a tiny town called Millbrook, Pennsylvania. Population, just under 1,200 people. The kind of place where everybody knows your name before you've even unpacked your boxes. Sarah and I had been looking for our first home for almost 8 months. Every decent house was too expensive. Every affordable one needed years of repairs. Then our realtor called. "I think I found something." She sounded hesitant, not excited, just uncertain. The listing had appeared only that morning. A beautiful 2-story farmhouse, built in 1941, 3 bedrooms, original hardwood floors, stone fireplace, detached garage, nearly 3 acres of land. The price was almost $90,000 below market value. I thought it had to be a mistake. When we arrived, the house looked almost perfect. White wooden siding, a wide front porch with 2 rocking chairs, tall maple trees surrounding the property, a small red barn standing behind the house. It looked like the kind of home people dreamed about. Sarah smiled the moment she stepped out of the truck. "I love it. That should have made me happy." Instead, I couldn't stop staring at the upstairs windows. Every curtain was open, but something about those dark rooms felt wrong, like someone had just stepped away from the glass, watching us. Our realtor, Melissa, unlocked the front door. "I should tell you something before we go inside." I looked at her. The previous owners left unexpectedly. "What do you mean?" "They packed everything in one weekend, and they never came back." Sarah laughed softly. "People move all the time." Melissa didn't laugh. "They left their furniture." Now that was strange. Inside, the house smelled old. Not dirty, not moldy, just unused. Dust floated through beams of afternoon sunlight. Every room still contained furniture. Books lined the shelves. Family photographs still hung on the walls. Coffee mugs remained inside the kitchen cabinets. Children's drawings were attached to the refrigerator with magnets. It didn't feel abandoned. It felt paused, as if a family had walked outside for 5 minutes and never returned. Sarah wandered into the living room. "This place is incredible." I nodded, but something kept bothering me. There were no personal photographs showing faces. Every frame had been removed. Every album was empty. Only the frames remained, as though someone had carefully erased every memory. Before leaving, Melissa noticed me looking. "They took all the family pictures. Why leave everything else?" She looked toward the staircase. "I don't know," but the way she answered made me think she did. We spent nearly an hour walking through the house. Everything checked out. The plumbing worked. The electricity worked. The roof looked solid. Even the foundation appeared surprisingly good for an 80-year-old farmhouse. Then we reached the basement. Melissa stopped walking. "I'll wait up here. You don't want to come?" She forced a smile. "I've never liked basements." I grabbed a flashlight from my truck. Sarah followed me down the narrow wooden stairs. The air changed immediately, colder, heavier. The basement ceiling was low enough that I had to duck beneath exposed pipes. Concrete walls surrounded us on every side. Old shelves filled with dusty glass jars lined one corner. There was nothing unusual, at least not at first. As I inspected the foundation, my flashlight stopped on the far wall. Something didn't make sense. The brick pattern changed halfway across. Most of the basement had been built using old gray stone. But one section, roughly 6 feet wide, had newer red bricks. The mortar looked decades newer than everything surrounding it. Someone had sealed something. Sarah walked beside me. "What is it?" I ran my hand across the wall. The bricks felt warmer, Not much warmer, just enough to notice. I frowned. That's strange. What? This section shouldn't be here. Before Sarah could answer, we both heard it. 3 soft knocks. From the other side of the wall. Knock, knock, knock. We froze. Neither of us moved. Neither of us breathed. Then, silence. Sarah whispered, "Ethan, was that inside the wall?" I didn't answer, because I was already wondering the exact same thing. The knocking never came again. For almost 30 seconds, the basement became completely silent. Not ordinary silence, the kind that forces you to listen to your own breathing. Sarah slowly grabbed my arm. "Ethan, say something." I kept staring at the brick wall. It was probably a pipe. Even as I said it, I didn't believe it. The old farmhouse used cast iron plumbing. Pipes creak. They groan. Sometimes they bang. But they don't knock. 3 times. Exactly 3. I stepped closer. The flashlight beam danced across the newer bricks. The mortar wasn't cracked. There wasn't a single opening large enough for an animal. No vents. No access hatch. Nothing. I pressed my ear against the wall. Cold bricks touched my face. For several seconds, I heard absolutely nothing. Then, very faintly, a slow scratching sound, like someone dragging their fingernails across wood. Scratch. Pause. Scratch. Then, it stopped. I stepped backward so quickly I nearly lost my balance. Sarah saw my face. "What?" "I heard something." "What kind of something?" I hesitated. "I don't know." That wasn't entirely true. I knew exactly what it sounded like. It sounded human. Neither of us spoke as we climbed the basement stairs. Melissa was waiting in the kitchen. She smiled nervously. "So?" Sarah forced a laugh. "The basement's creepy." Melissa didn't seem surprised. "They usually are." I watched her carefully. "Has anyone ever mentioned that wall?" Her smile disappeared. "What wall?" "The one with the newer bricks." She looked away almost instantly. "I've never been down there." It was a lie. Every realtor checks the basement. Everyone. On the drive home, Sarah couldn't stop talking about the house. "The land is beautiful. The bedrooms are huge. We'll finally have enough space." I nodded at everything she said, but my mind stayed in that basement, on that wall, on those 3 knocks. 2 weeks later, we signed the papers. The Hawthorne farmhouse officially became ours. Moving day was exhausting. Boxes everywhere. Furniture scattered across every room. By sunset, we were too tired to unpack anything else. We ordered pizza, sat on the living room floor, and laughed about how empty the house felt. For the first time, it almost felt normal. Around midnight, I woke to a strange sound. Not loud, barely audible. I looked at the clock. 12:37 a.m. Sarah was still asleep beside me. Then I heard it again. Thump. A single dull thump. Somewhere below us. From the basement. I grabbed my phone, turned on the flashlight, walked quietly into the hallway. The house creaked beneath every step. Old wood settling. Nothing unusual. Until I reached the basement door. The handle was moving. Very slowly. Not opening. Just shaking. As though someone on the other side had gently tested it. Once. Twice. Then it stopped. I waited. 1 minute. 2 minutes. Nothing. Finally, I opened the door. The staircase disappeared into complete darkness. My flashlight barely reached halfway down. Everything looked exactly the way we'd left it. The shelves, the furnace, the workbench. No movement, no sound. I almost turned around. Then I noticed something. The basement light was on. I knew I'd turned it off before going to bed. Trying to stay calm, I walked downstairs. The air felt colder than before. Much colder. Every step echoed. When I reached the bottom, my flashlight landed on the brick wall. I froze. There, lying neatly against the newer bricks, was a white ceramic dinner plate. We hadn't unpacked any dishes yet. Every plate we owned was still sealed inside moving boxes upstairs. But this plate was clean, perfectly clean. And sitting in the center, was a fresh slice of warm apple pie. Steam still rose from it, as though someone had placed it there only seconds ago. A folded piece of yellow paper rested beneath the plate. My hands trembled as I picked it up. 3 words were written in neat handwriting. "Welcome home, Ethan." My blood turned to ice. I had never told anyone we were moving into this house. No neighbors, no contractors, no delivery drivers, no one. So how did whoever left that note already know my name? I stared at the note for what felt like forever. "Welcome home, Ethan." Someone had written it by hand. Not printed, not typed. The ink hadn't even dried completely. I touched one corner of the paper. It was still slightly damp. Whoever left it had been here minutes ago, maybe seconds. I spun around, shining my flashlight across the basement. Workbench, shelves, furnace, laundry sink. Nothing. No one. The basement had only one staircase, the one I'd just walked down. There was no second exit. No windows large enough for an adult. Nowhere to hide. Yet someone had somehow entered, left warm pie, written my name, and vanished. I slowly backed toward the stairs. My instincts screamed at me to leave. Not tomorrow. Not in the morning. Right now. But another part of me, the contractor in me, needed answers. I looked back at the brick wall. The warmth was still there. Faint, but unmistakable. I pressed my palm against it. The heat wasn't coming from the surface. It was coming from behind it. The next morning, I told Sarah everything. She listened quietly. Then she smiled. "You were exhausted, Ethan. We moved all day. You probably dreamed part of it." Without saying a word, I handed her the note. Her smile disappeared. "You didn't write this?" "No." She looked toward the basement door. "What about the pie?" I walked into the kitchen, opened the refrigerator. The plate was exactly where I'd left it. The slice of pie was still warm. Neither of us touched it. Around noon, I called a contractor friend named Lucas. He specialized in old homes. If anyone could explain that strange wall, it would be him. He arrived carrying a moisture meter, thermal camera, and small inspection hammer. After 15 minutes in the basement, he frowned. "This doesn't make any sense." "What?" He tapped the newer bricks. "Hollow." He knocked again. Every other wall produced a solid echo. This one sounded empty. Lucas stepped back. "There should be a cavity behind this." "How big?" He checked the measurements. His eyebrows lifted. "At least 8 feet deep." Sarah looked confused. 8 feet? Yes. But according to the floor plan, he pointed toward the foundation. There isn't supposed to be any space back there. We measured the basement, then measured the outside of the house. Lucas checked twice, then a third time. His face slowly lost color. "Ethan, your basement is 8 feet shorter than your house." I stared at him. "What?" He pulled out his notebook. "The exterior foundation is 62 feet. The basement interior is only 54, 8 feet, exactly the size of the hollow space." There was an entire section of the house that officially didn't exist. Lucas looked at me. "I've renovated homes for 23 years. I've found hidden closets, old wells, secret safes, but I've never seen an entire room erased from a floor plan." Sarah whispered, "Can we open it?" Lucas hesitated. "I wouldn't." "Why?" He couldn't answer. Not because he didn't know, because something about the wall made him uncomfortable. "I'll get my demolition tools." An hour later, the 3 of us stood in front of the newer bricks. Lucas raised a heavy sledgehammer. He looked at me one last time. "Once we do this, there's no putting it back." I nodded. "Do it." The first swing shook the basement. Crack. Dust exploded into the air. One brick shifted. The second swing broke 3 more loose. Cold air rushed through the opening. Not basement air. Different. Older. Smelled like damp wood, burned candles, and something metallic. Almost like dried blood. Lucas widened the hole. Brick after brick crashed onto the concrete floor. Then, his flashlight disappeared through the opening. He stopped swinging. Nobody spoke. We simply stared. There really was a room behind the wall. Not a crawl space, not a storage area. A fully built room, perfectly square, with wooden walls, an old wooden table, a rocking chair, shelves filled with dusty books, and dozens of melted candles. The air inside was warm, far warmer than the basement, as though someone had been heating it for years. Sarah whispered, "Oh my God!" Then my flashlight landed on the far corner. There, next to the rocking chair, stood a pair of muddy boots. Fresh mud still clung to the soles. Beside them hung a heavy black coat, still dripping rainwater onto the wooden floor. Someone had come home very recently, but the room was completely empty, or so we thought, because just as Lucas stepped inside, the rocking chair began to move very slowly, back and forth, without anyone sitting in it. The rocking chair moved only once, back, then forward, then it stopped. No wind, no vibration, nothing else moved. The room became so quiet, I could hear Lucas breathing. He swallowed hard. "I'm done." Without taking another step, he slowly backed out of the hidden room. "I don't care what's in there. You couldn't pay me enough." He grabbed his toolbox, didn't ask for payment, didn't even look back. Within 30 seconds, his truck disappeared down the gravel driveway. Sarah looked at me. "Maybe we should leave too." I wanted to agree. Every instinct told me to walk away, seal the wall back up, forget we'd ever found the room. But curiosity is a dangerous thing, especially inside old houses. "I just want one look. Ethan, 5 minutes. That's all." I grabbed 2 fresh flashlights, one for Sarah, one for me. Then we stepped through the opening together. The temperature changed immediately. The hidden room felt comfortable, almost warm enough to sit in without a jacket. There wasn't a heater, no fireplace, no vents, yet somehow, the room had stayed warm. The walls were covered with dark pine boards, hand-built, very old. A single wooden table stood in the center. On it sat a ceramic mug. Steam no longer rose from it, but when I touched the side, it was still slightly warm. Someone had been drinking coffee here. Very recently, Sarah opened one of the cabinets. Inside were canned vegetables, rice, flour, dried meat, enough food to survive for months. None of it had expired. Some cans had expiration dates from 2027. Someone had been restocking this room. I looked toward the bookshelves. Every book dealt with the same subjects: local history, railroads, disappearances, architecture, old maps. One shelf held nothing but journals. Dozens of them, black leather covers. Every spine carried only a year: 1979, 1980, 1981, 1982, 1983, 1984. The final journal had no year. I opened it carefully. The handwriting was neat, careful, almost obsessive. The first page read, "If you're reading this, he finally let you find the room." A cold shiver ran through my body. The next line made my stomach tighten. "My name is Daniel Hawthorne. This is my house." Hawthorne, the family name from the property records. The original owners. According to county records, Daniel Hawthorne had disappeared in 1998. I kept reading. "If you're standing here, don't waste time trying to understand the room. The room isn't hidden. The house is." I frowned. That sentence made no sense. Sarah leaned closer. "What does he mean?" "I don't know." I turned another page. "Every owner hears the knocking. Every owner breaks the wall. Every owner believes they're the first." My breathing slowed. "You're not." Several pages had been torn out. Only jagged edges remained. Then, near the center of the journal, I found a rough pencil sketch, a floor plan. It showed our house, exactly as it looked today, except there was another staircase, hidden behind the pantry. leading downward, far below the basement. Someone had circled it repeatedly. Beside the drawing, Daniel had written one sentence: "Never open the second door." Sarah looked confused. "What second door?" "I don't know. There isn't another staircase." As soon as I finished speaking, we both heard it. A loud, heavy, wooden slam from upstairs. The front door. Someone had just entered the house. Sarah immediately whispered, "Lucas." Maybe, except Lucas had driven away nearly 15 minutes earlier. We listened. Footsteps, slow, measured, walking across the living room, then the kitchen, then silence. I looked toward the basement opening. No one stood there. "Ethan," Sarah whispered. "Someone's upstairs." I nodded. We quietly stepped back into the basement. The house above us remained completely still. Then, from directly overhead, came a voice. A man's voice. Calm, gentle, almost friendly. "Hello." Long pause. Then, "I know you're down there." Sarah grabbed my hand so tightly her nails dug into my skin. The voice continued. "You found my room." Another pause. Then, with a quiet laugh, he added the one sentence that made my blood run cold. "Please don't read the last page." I looked down at the journal. There were still nearly 50 pages left, including the very last one. The basement became perfectly still. Neither Sarah nor I dared to breathe. The voice had sounded normal, too normal, not threatening, not angry, almost welcoming. Then, 3 slow footsteps crossed the kitchen floor above us. Step, step, step. Then they stopped, directly above the basement stairs. The man was standing outside the basement door, listening, just as we were. Sarah leaned close enough that I could barely hear her whisper, "Call 911. I slowly reached into my pocket. My phone wasn't there. I checked the other pocket. Nothing. I left it upstairs. Sarah's eyes widened. So did I. Every phone in the house was upstairs. The voice came again, even softer this time. "You don't have to hide. I've been waiting a long time." The floorboards creaked. One step, then another. He wasn't coming downstairs. He was walking away, toward the living room. A minute passed, then another. Silence. Finally, I whispered, "Stay here. Ethan, don't. I'll be right back." Keeping the flashlight low, I climbed the basement stairs one step at a time. Every muscle in my body felt tight. I reached the basement door, placed one hand on the knob, turned it. Slowly, the kitchen was empty. No footprints, no open windows, no broken locks, nothing. I searched every room. The dining room, living room, front porch, back porch, the garage, even the barn. Nobody. When I returned inside, the front door was still locked from the inside, exactly the way we'd left it. There was only one problem. My phone was sitting on the kitchen counter, exactly where I'd forgotten it. Except, it wasn't alone anymore. Beside it sat another yellow note. The handwriting matched the first one perfectly. "You shouldn't leave her alone." I felt my stomach drop. I sprinted back toward the basement. "Sarah." No answer. I ran down the stairs. The hidden room stood open. The flashlight she'd been holding lay on the floor, still on. "Sarah." Nothing. The room was empty. The rocking chair moved gently. Back, forward, back, forward. I rushed inside. The coffee mug was gone. The muddy boots were gone. The black coat was gone. Only the journal remained, still open, exactly where I'd left it. Then I heard Sarah, very faintly, "Ethan." Her voice echoed from somewhere below me, not behind the walls, not upstairs, below. I looked down. The wooden floor beneath the table had shifted, just slightly. I knelt, ran my hand across the old planks. One board felt loose, much looser than the others. Using my pocket knife, I carefully pried it upward. The board lifted easily, too easily, as though someone had opened it many times before. Hidden beneath the floor was a narrow wooden hatch. barely 3 feet wide. Iron handle, heavy lock, except the lock had already been broken. Recently, fresh splinters covered the wood. My flashlight shined into the crack. Stone steps disappeared into darkness, far deeper than the basement, far deeper than the house should allow. The hidden staircase from Daniel Hawthorne's sketch was real, and from somewhere deep below, Sarah's voice echoed again, much weaker now. "Ethan, don't come down." Long silence. Then another voice answered her. The same calm man from upstairs. Only now, he sounded much closer. "So," he said gently, "you found the second door." I stood frozen above the broken hatch. Sarah's voice echoed from somewhere below. Weak, terrified. "Don't come down." Then, silence. The man answered instead. His voice drifted upward through the darkness. Calm, patient, almost polite. "You've already opened the door. So eventually, you'll have to come." The hatch slowly creaked. Not because someone touched it, because something beneath it breathed. A warm current of air drifted upward. Unlike the hidden room, this air smelled ancient. Wet stone, rotting wood, old candle wax, and something else. Something I couldn't identify. Every instinct told me to run, to call the police, to leave the house forever. But Sarah was somewhere below. If she was alive, I had no choice. I grabbed the flashlight tighter, then looked back toward the basement stairs. No one. The house above remained completely silent. Almost too silent. I climbed through the hatch. The wooden ladder ended after only 3 steps. From there, old stone stairs descended into complete darkness. Hand-carved, uneven, far older than the farmhouse itself. The deeper I walked, the colder the air became. The walls changed too. The concrete foundation disappeared. Now there was only rough gray stone. Moisture dripped steadily from the ceiling. After nearly 30 steps, the staircase ended. I found myself standing inside a narrow tunnel. It stretched in 2 directions, left and right. Someone had mounted old oil lanterns along the walls. None were lit, yet I could still see. A strange pale light filled the tunnel, with no visible source. Then I noticed something on the floor. Footprints, bare feet, small, probably Sarah's, fresh, leading toward the right tunnel. Mixed with them were another set, large, boot prints, exactly the same tread pattern as the muddy boots I'd seen inside the hidden room. I followed. The tunnel continued for what felt like hundreds of feet. Occasionally, I passed wooden doors, each one numbered. Room 1, Room 2, Room 3. Every door had been nailed shut from the outside. Heavy iron spikes, thick chains. Some doors shook slightly, very slightly, as though someone inside had heard my footsteps. I kept walking, trying not to look, trying not to listen. Then, one door whispered, "Ethan." I stopped instantly. It was Sarah. "I'm in here." I rushed toward the door marked Room 7. "Sarah, I'm here." Her voice sounded relieved. "Hurry, please. He's coming back." I grabbed the chains, pulled as hard as I could. They wouldn't move. Then I heard another voice from the room beside it. Also Sarah. "Ethan, don't open that door." My blood froze. I slowly turned. The voice had come from Room 8. Another Sarah. Both voices called my name. Both cried. Both begged me to help. Room 7 screamed, "It's me." Room 8 shouted back, "She's lying." My hands began shaking. Both voices sounded identical. Same fear, same emotion, same breathing. Then, every other door in the tunnel began speaking. Dozens of voices. Men, women, children. Some cried, some laughed, some whispered. Every one of them called my name. "Ethan, over here. Help me. We've been waiting." The tunnel echoed with hundreds of voices, all talking at once, all sounding real. Suddenly, every voice stopped, at exactly the same moment. Complete silence. Then, very slowly, I heard footsteps, not behind me, not ahead of me, above me. Something was walking across the ceiling. One slow step, then another, like a spider, except far heavier. Dust fell onto my shoulders. Small stones rolled across the tunnel floor. I forced myself to raise the flashlight. My hands trembled. The beam climbed toward the stone ceiling. Slowly, there, crawling upside down across the rock, was a man, barefoot, wearing the same black coat that had disappeared from the hidden room. His body bent in impossible directions. His arms were far too long. His neck twisted almost completely backward, so he could smile directly at me while crawling across the ceiling. Then, without blinking, he quietly said, "You opened the wrong door. You opened the wrong door." The man smiled, not a wide smile, just enough to show yellow, uneven teeth. His pale eyes never blinked, not once. Yet somehow, he continued crawling across the ceiling, like gravity simply didn't apply to him. I couldn't move. Every instinct screamed at me to run, but my legs refused. The man tilted his head, almost upside down, still smiling. "You should have listened to Daniel." Then he let go. He didn't fall. He landed silently, bare feet touching the stone floor without making a sound. Only 10 feet away, for the first time, I saw him clearly. He looked almost normal, mid-50s, thin, gray hair, black coat, mud-covered boots. Exactly the boots I'd seen in the hidden room. But something wasn't right. His shadow. The tunnel light cast shadows in only one direction. Every door, every chain, every lantern, all cast shadows behind them. His shadow pointed toward me, as though another light stood somewhere behind me. He noticed me staring, then quietly laughed. "You finally saw it." Before I could answer, a loud metallic bang echoed through the tunnel. Clang. Room 7. The chains rattled violently. Sarah screamed again. "Ethan, please, don't leave me." Instantly, Room 8 answered. "No, he's trying to trick you." The man sighed, almost disappointed. "They never stop arguing." I looked at him. "Who are they?" He smiled. "The previous owners." Every hair on my arms stood up. "What?" He slowly pointed down the tunnel. "Every family who found the room eventually found the hallway. They all made the same choice." "What choice?" He looked directly into my eyes. "They chose the wrong voice." The tunnel suddenly trembled, not from footsteps, from somewhere far below. Something enormous was moving beneath us. Dust drifted from the ceiling. The chains on every door began shaking. One after another, the whispers returned. Not dozens, hundreds, different voices, different ages, different accents. Some begged, some laughed, some prayed. Every one of them repeated the same sentence. "Don't let him choose." The man closed his eyes, as if the voices annoyed him. "They're always so dramatic." He walked calmly toward room 7, placed one hand gently on the door. The screaming inside immediately stopped. Silence. He turned back toward me. "You know, I never locked these doors." I frowned. "But they're chained. From the outside." He nodded. "Yes, they put the chains there." I stared. "What? The people inside?" My heart skipped. "They asked me to." He smiled sadly. "They're afraid. They'll come out again." For several seconds, neither of us spoke. Then, he asked something completely unexpected. "Ethan, have you ever wondered why every picture frame upstairs is empty?" I remembered immediately. Every family photograph had been removed. Every frame left blank. The man slowly reached inside his coat, pulled out a faded photograph. He handed it to me. It showed a happy family standing on the farmhouse porch. A father, a mother, 2 children. Then I looked closer. The father was Daniel Hawthorne, the man whose journal I'd been reading. I turned the photograph over. Written on the back, in faded blue ink, were 6 words, taken one day after we moved in. Below that, Someone had written another sentence much later. Different handwriting, shaking, uneven. There were 5 of us. I looked up. There are only 4 people. The man smiled. Slowly. Exactly. The tunnel lights went out. Total darkness swallowed everything. Then, from somewhere only inches from my ear, a little girl whispered, "He's standing behind you now." The little girl's whisper froze every muscle in my body. "He's standing behind you now." Couldn't breathe. I couldn't think. Slowly, very slowly, I turned around. Nothing. The tunnel behind me was empty. Only darkness. Only the endless row of chained doors. Then, the flashlight flickered back to life. For a split second, I saw dozens of people standing in the tunnel. Men, women, children, perfectly still, watching me. The light flickered again. They were gone. Only the man in the black coat remained. He smiled as though nothing had happened. "You saw them," I swallowed. "Who are they?" He looked down the tunnel. "They're the ones who remembered." Before I could ask another question, the entire tunnel shook violently. A deafening crack echoed through the stone walls. One of the chain doors had burst open. It wasn't room 7. It wasn't room 8. It was room 13. The heavy chains lay broken across the floor. The wooden door slowly swung inward. Darkness poured out. Not shadows. Darkness itself. As if the room contained no light at all. The man in the black coat stopped smiling. For the first time, he looked afraid. "No," he whispered. "He's awake." The temperature dropped instantly. My breath became visible. Frost spread across the stone floor. Every lantern along the tunnel extinguished itself. From inside room 13 came footsteps. Heavy, slow, deliberate. Someone was walking toward us. One step, another, another. The man backed away. He wasn't looking at me anymore. He was staring at the open doorway. Then, he whispered something so quietly, I almost missed it. I kept him asleep. For 32 years. A deep voice answered from inside the darkness. "You failed." The sound wasn't loud, yet the tunnel walls vibrated. Every chain door began rattling at once. People screamed behind them. Dozens of voices. Hundreds. The little girl cried, "Run!" The man suddenly grabbed my arm. His grip was ice cold. "You have to leave." Pulled away. "I thought you wanted me here." "I did. Until now." He looked terrified. Completely different from the calm man I'd met upstairs. "I thought you were alone." "What?" He slowly turned toward room 13. "You're not the one he chose." I frowned. "What are you talking about?" Instead of answering, he pointed behind me. I looked. Sarah stood at the end of the tunnel, perfectly still, looking directly at me. Relief flooded through me. Sarah. She didn't move, didn't blink, didn't answer. Something felt wrong. Very wrong. The man whispered, "Don't go to her." I ignored him, started running. "Sarah." She finally smiled. Not her usual smile. Too wide, too perfect. As I got closer, I noticed something impossible. She wasn't breathing. Her chest never moved. Not once. Yet she continued smiling, watching me, waiting. I slowed to a stop, only 15 feet away. "Sarah." Her lips finally moved, but the voice that came out wasn't hers. It was Daniel Hawthorne's. "She's downstairs." "You're talking to the house." The tunnel lights exploded, one after another. Glass shattered across the stone floor. The smiling figure wearing Sarah's face began twisting. Bones cracked, arms bent backward. Her neck slowly turned until her face was completely upside down, still smiling. Then, the walls around us began moving, not shaking, moving. The stone blocks slid silently apart. Hidden passages opened on both sides of the tunnel. Inside every passage stood another room, exactly like the hidden room beneath my basement. Each one fully furnished, each one warm, each one occupied. Families sat quietly around dinner tables, reading books, playing board games, rocking babies to sleep. Every family looked completely normal, until every single one of them turned their heads toward me at the exact same moment and smiled. Behind every family stood the same tall figure, motionless, watching them, watching me. Then all of them spoke together, hundreds of voices, perfectly synchronized. "Welcome home," the man beside me whispered in horror. "No, he's showing you all the houses. He's showing you all the houses." The man beside me didn't sound frightened anymore. He sounded defeated. I looked down the endless passages. Every hidden room looked identical. Same wooden walls, same rocking chair, same shelves, same warm candlelight. But every family was different. Different faces, different years, different lives. Some wore clothes from the 1950s. Others looked like they had walked out of the 1980s. One family looked almost modern. They could have moved in last month. Yet every single one of them smiled exactly the same way. The tall figure standing behind them never moved, never blinked, simply watched. The man in the black coat whispered, "They're not trapped. They're living." I stared at him. What? They think they're still in their homes. They wake up. They eat breakfast. They celebrate birthdays. They grow old. They never realize their house disappeared years ago. A chill ran through my entire body. "What are you saying?" He slowly looked at me. "The farmhouse isn't special. It's just the newest entrance." I frowned. "Newest entrance to what?" He raised one shaking finger, pointing toward the hundreds of hidden rooms. "The house. Not the house. The house." The words echoed strangely through the tunnels, as if the walls themselves recognized the name. The smiling families suddenly returned to eating dinner, talking, laughing, completely ignoring us. One little boy looked no older than 8. He laughed as his father handed him a birthday present. Then, the boy looked directly at me. His smile vanished. Without moving his lips, I heard his voice inside my head. "Don't let it see you." Immediately, the room disappeared. Every hidden passage slammed shut. Stone walls sealed themselves again. Only one passage remained open. At the very end of the tunnel, a warm yellow light spilled from inside. The man beside me stepped backward. "No! It's calling you." Before I could ask what he meant, my feet began moving. Not because I wanted to, because I couldn't stop. Step, step, step. Something pulled me forward, like an invisible rope around my chest. The man grabbed my shoulder. "Ethan, fight it!" I tried, every muscle strained. Nothing happened. I kept walking, straight toward the glowing doorway. Inside, I found a living room. My living room. Every box we'd unpacked. Every picture we'd hung. Sarah's blue blanket. My coffee mug. Even the pizza box from our first night. Everything. It looked exactly like our house upstairs. Except, the clock on the fireplace read, October 18th, 2039. 15 years in the future. I slowly stepped inside. Someone was sitting in my favorite chair, reading a newspaper. Gray hair, wrinkled hands. Older, much older. Me. The older Ethan looked up, smiled sadly. "I wondered how long it'd take you." I couldn't speak. He folded the newspaper. His headline froze my blood. "Millbrook family missing for 15 years declared legally dead." Below the headline was our photograph. Mine, Sarah's, and a little girl, around 12 years old, holding my hand. I looked at the older version of myself. "Who is she?" His eyes filled with tears. "Our daughter." I felt the room spinning. "We never had children." He nodded slowly. "You will, if you stay." Behind him, Sarah walked into the room carrying dinner plates. She looked older too, happy, peaceful. She smiled at me, as though she'd expected me. "You're home." The smell of fresh bread filled the room. Rain tapped gently against the windows. The fireplace crackled softly. Everything felt perfect. The older Ethan quietly said, "Stay. You'll forget the tunnel. You'll forget the fear. You'll forget there was ever another life. He looked toward the hallway. Our daughter is waiting upstairs. For one terrifying moment, I wanted to believe him. I wanted this life, this home, this family. Then, I noticed something. The calendar hanging beside the kitchen. Every single page said the exact same date, October 18th. Every month, every year, every page. Time had never moved. The older Ethan followed my eyes. His smile slowly faded. Then he whispered, with heartbreaking exhaustion, "Please, don't become me." Before I could answer, every light in the house went out. Complete darkness. Then, from somewhere upstairs, a little girl laughed, followed by one innocent question. "Daddy, why is the house hungry again?" The little girl's voice echoed upstairs. "Daddy, why is the house hungry again?" The darkness around me felt alive. Not empty, watching, breathing, waiting. Then, a tiny hand slipped into mine, ice cold, soft. I looked down. A little girl stood beside me, about 12 years old, long brown hair, blue eyes, wearing an old white nightgown. She looked exactly like the photograph. "Our daughter," I whispered. She smiled sadly. "No, you never had children." My heart stopped. Then, "Who are you?" She glanced toward the ceiling. Her smile disappeared. "I'm the first." Before I could ask what she meant, the entire house shook. The walls groaned. The fireplace went out. Somewhere deep below, something enormous exhaled. The little girl grabbed my wrist. "We don't have much time." The hallway behind us began stretching. The front door moved farther away. The windows slowly disappeared into solid walls. The house was changing, growing. She pulled me toward the staircase. "Come!" We ran. Every step felt heavier than the last. The farther we climbed, the older the house became. Fresh paint peeled away. Wallpaper rotted before my eyes. Wood darkened. Nails rusted. By the time we reached the second floor, the house looked 100 years older. Every bedroom door stood open. Inside each room, I saw different families, sleeping peacefully, reading books, watching television, living ordinary lives. None of them noticed me. The little girl whispered, "They're dreaming. They think they're home. They've been dreaming." 4 years. I stopped. "What is this place?" She looked at me with tears in her eyes. "It isn't one house. It never was. It's every house." My stomach tightened. "What?" She slowly pointed through the hallway window. I looked outside. There wasn't a backyard anymore. There wasn't even Pennsylvania. As far as I could see, stood thousands of houses, farmhouses, cabins, apartments, Victorian homes, modern homes, every style imaginable, all connected, wall to wall, roof to roof, endlessly, like one gigantic living organism. Doors opened, families walked inside, lights turned on, children laughed, dogs barked. Everything looked completely normal, until I noticed something. None of those people ever left. The front doors opened inward. People entered, but nobody ever came back out. I stumbled backward. This can't be real." The little girl nodded. "It becomes real once you believe you belong here." Behind us, the hallway floor cracked. Heavy footsteps echoed upward. Slow, powerful. The thing from room 13 was climbing the stairs. The little girl looked terrified. "He found us." "Who is he?" She answered without looking back. "The builder." Every light in the hallway exploded. Glass rained across the floor. Then, a shadow appeared at the bottom of the staircase. It wasn't shaped like a man anymore. It was far too tall, nearly touching the ceiling. Its body seemed stitched together from old wood. Floorboards formed its ribs. Door frames became its arms. His fingers looked like broken stair railings. His face was made from hundreds of front doors. Every doorknob looked like an eye. When it breathed, I heard doors opening all across the endless neighborhood outside. The little girl whispered, He builds new homes. Using people. The creature slowly raised one wooden hand. Every house outside turned toward us. Not the people. The houses. Roofs twisted. Windows became eyes. Front doors opened like mouths. Thousands of homes were watching. The builder spoke. Its voice sounded like hundreds of old houses creaking at once. Every family needs a home, pointed directly at me. Yours is almost finished. At that exact moment, I remembered Daniel Hawthorne's journal, the pages that had been torn out, the warning. There had been one sentence I hadn't understood. The room isn't hidden, the house is. Now, I finally knew what he meant. The farmhouse had never been hiding a room. It had been hiding an entrance to something so vast that no map, no town, and no human mind was ever meant to comprehend. The little girl suddenly pulled a small brass key from her pocket. She shoved it into my hand. This is the only door. He can't build. Before I could ask another question, the builder took its first step onto the second floor. The entire house screamed. The entire house screamed. Not the people. The walls. The floors. The ceiling. Every nail. Every beam. Every brick. As if the house itself felt pain. The builder climbed another step. Each footfall sounded like an entire neighborhood collapsing. Wood splintered beneath its weight. The hallway stretched farther behind it. Every room merged together. Bedrooms became kitchens. Hallways folded into staircases. Nothing obeyed logic anymore. The little brass key in my hand suddenly became warm. Not painfully hot, just alive. The little girl grabbed my wrist. Her eyes filled with panic. You have to remember. Remember what? The real house. I don't understand. She shook her head. That's what he wants. He doesn't trap people. He makes them forget. Those words hit me harder than anything else I'd heard. I thought about the older version of myself. The smiling Sarah. The daughter we'd never had. The peaceful dinner table. It wasn't a prison. It was a perfect memory that never existed. The builder wasn't feeding on fear. It was feeding on acceptance. The moment someone believed they were home, they never wanted to leave. The builder stopped halfway up the stairs. Hundreds of wooden doors across its face slowly opened. Behind each tiny door was another human eye, watching me. Then every eye blinked together. Its voice echoed through every room. Stay. No more pain. No more loneliness. No more loss. For one terrifying second, I almost believed it. Then I remembered something impossible. Sarah. The real Sarah. The way she laughed every morning when making coffee. The tiny scar on her left hand from falling off her bicycle when she was 12. The way she always sang the wrong lyrics while cooking. The Sarah I'd seen here had none of those things. She smiled perfectly because she wasn't real. The builder noticed my expression change. I stopped smiling. For the first time, his calm voice became angry. You remembered. The entire house shook violently. Windows exploded inward. Doors slammed open. Thousands of families across the endless neighborhood suddenly froze. Every one of them looked toward me. The little girl whispered, Hurry! The last door. She pointed toward the end of the hallway. A small white door stood there. Plain, old, almost forgotten. Unlike every other door, it had no handle, only a small keyhole. The brass key in my hand began glowing. I ran. The hallway fought me. Every step became harder. The carpet wrapped around my ankles. Wallpaper peeled away like reaching hands. The ceiling lowered, trying to crush me. Behind me, the builder roared. Its enormous wooden arms tore through the hallway. Walls shattered. Entire rooms disappeared. It wasn't chasing me anymore. It was destroying the house itself. Trying to reach the door first. I reached the white door. My hands trembled. The brass key fit perfectly. Click. Nothing happened. I pushed. The door wouldn't move. The little girl looked horrified. No! He found it first. I looked closer. Something was holding the door shut. Not a lock. A hand, an old human hand, reaching from the other side, holding the door closed. Then I heard a familiar voice. Daniel Hawthorne, very weak, very tired. Ethan, you can't open it until someone lets go. I pressed my forehead against the door. Daniel, how long have you been there? A long silence followed. Finally, he answered, since 1998. My heart broke. You've been holding this door shut all these years. He laughed softly. I wasn't holding it shut. I was holding him out. The builder stopped, only 20 feet away. Its hundreds of eyes stared directly at the door, not with anger, with fear. Daniel whispered one final time, I can't hold it anymore. I need someone to finish what I started. The brass key suddenly cracked. A bright white light burst from it. The little girl stepped backward. Tears rolled down her face. She looked at me with the saddest smile I'd ever seen. Then she quietly said the words I'd been dreading. Ethan, only one person can leave. At that exact moment, I heard Sarah scream. Not the fake Sarah, the real one, somewhere beneath the house. Alive, terrified, calling my name, and I realized the impossible truth. If I opened the final door, I could save either Sarah or everyone trapped inside the house. Not both. Only one person could leave. The words echoed through the hallway. The builder stood motionless, waiting. The little girl lowered her eyes. She couldn't even look at me anymore. Below us, I heard Sarah scream again. Real, desperate, alive. Ethan, please. Daniel's exhausted voice came through the white door. You don't have much time. The builder slowly smiled. Hundreds of tiny wooden doors across its face opened at once. Behind every door, someone else's eyes stared back at me. Men, women, children, thousands of them. Then every voice spoke together. Choose. For one terrible second, I almost chose Sarah. Anyone would. The person I loved. The person I'd promised to protect. Then, I remembered something. Daniel had said, only one person can leave. He never said, only one person could survive. I looked at the brass key. It was splitting apart. Cracks of white light spread across its surface. Suddenly, I understood. The key wasn't made to open the door. It was made to destroy it. I looked at Daniel. If I break the door, what happens? A long silence. Then, Daniel smiled. The house loses its entrance. And you, his smile never faded. I've been dead for 26 years. Tears filled my eyes. You stayed to stop this. He nodded. Now, it's your turn. The builder realized what I had understood. For the first time, he screamed, not with anger, with fear. The entire neighborhood outside began collapsing. Thousands of houses cracked apart. Roofs caved in. Windows shattered. Families disappeared into white light. The builder charged. The hallway exploded beneath its weight. The little girl grabbed my hand. Now! I pulled the brass key from the lock, raised it above my head, then drove it straight through the center of the white door. The key shattered. A blinding white light erupted through every crack in the house. The sound wasn't an explosion. It was every front door in the world slamming shut. The builder reached for me, its wooden fingers wrapped around my arm. Then they turned to dust. The walls crumbled. The endless neighborhood vanished. The hidden rooms collapsed one after another. Every chained door burst open. Thousands of people stepped into the light, some crying, some laughing, some simply looking at the sky. For the first time in decades, Daniel stood inside the doorway at last. Not old anymore, not tired, just peaceful. He tipped his head toward me. You remembered. Then he disappeared. The little girl smiled one last time. Thank you. Before dissolving into countless tiny lights that floated upward like fireflies disappearing into the dawn. Everything went dark. When I opened my eyes, I was lying on the basement floor. The hidden room was gone. The brick wall had collapsed completely. Behind it, there was only solid earth. No chamber, no tunnel, no staircase, nothing. A paramedic shined a flashlight into my face. "Sir, can you hear me?" I blinked. "Sarah, where's Sarah?" A familiar voice answered. "I'm right here." I turned. Sarah sat beside me, covered in dust, shaking, but alive. She grabbed me and started crying. "I thought I'd lost you." Outside, police cars surrounded the farmhouse. Neighbors stood behind yellow tape. Everyone kept asking the same question. How did the basement collapse? No one could explain it. The county eventually demolished the farmhouse. They found no hidden room, no second staircase, no underground tunnels. Architects confirmed the basement measurements were completely normal. There had never been 8 missing feet. According to every official record, nothing unusual had ever existed beneath the house. 6 months later, Sarah and I moved to Ohio. We never bought another old house, never even looked at one. Sometimes, late at night, I still wake up expecting to hear 3 knocks behind a wall, but they never come. Years later, I searched for Daniel Hawthorne. His disappearance case remained unsolved. No body, no evidence, just one faded newspaper clipping. At the bottom of the article, someone had written a single sentence in blue ink. I recognized the handwriting immediately. Some houses protect families, others collect them. People often ask me why I refuse to renovate old homes anymore. I always smile, then tell them the truth. Because every wall deserves to stay closed. And if you ever buy an old house and one wall feels strangely warm, or you hear 3 quiet knocks coming from somewhere that shouldn't exist, don't grab a hammer. Don't call a contractor. Don't try to discover what's hidden. Because some secrets aren't buried to keep us out. They're buried to keep something else from finding its way in.